السلام علیکم.
وعلیکم السلام سر.
How are you? کیسے ہیں؟
الحمدللہ ٹھیک ہوں. آپ کیسے ہیں؟
الحمدللہ. وہ فائل مل گیا تھا؟
جی ہاں.
الحمدللہ. اوکے. میرا جو لیپ ٹاپ میں تو فائل ہے لیکن یہ مطلب ہے کہ یہاں زوم کام نہیں کر رہا ہے لیپ ٹاپ میں، تو اس لیے سلائڈ چینجز وغیرہ آپ کو کرنا پڑے گا.
شور آپ بتا دیں کیا چینج کرنا ہے، میں بھی کر دیتا ہوں.
جی تو انشاءاللہ جب ہم شروع کریں گے تو انشاءاللہ وہ آپ تو لندن میں ہوتے ہیں نا؟
نہیں سر، ہانگ کانگ.
ہانگ کانگ. اچھا ٹھیک ہے.
ندیم وہ ہوسٹ کریں گے، وہ انگلینڈ میں ہوتے ہیں.
جی جی ٹھیک ہے.
میں صرف ٹیکنیکل سپورٹ، اور اگر آپ پی پی ٹی پاور پوائنٹ کا سلائڈ اگلا کرنا چاہتے ہیں، چینج کرنا ہے
جی جی
تو
جی
میں اس کے لیے.
ٹھیک ہے. میں چیک کر لیا میرے پاس. ہاں میں نے لیپ ٹاپ میں وہ کھول لیا. پتہ نہیں لیپ ٹاپ میں کیا مسئلہ ہے، یہ زوم نہیں کام کر رہا. ٹیمز جو ہے، ٹیمز سے میں میٹنگ کر رہا ہوں لیکن اس میں کوئی مسئلہ نہیں ہے، زوم میں مسئلہ ہے.
اس کے بعد میٹنگ کے بعد اگر آپ چاہیں تو میں چیک کر سکتا ہوں. فی الحال اس پہ کچھ کرتے ہیں انشاءاللہ.
انشاءاللہ وہاں ٹیسٹ کر لیں گے. ابھی ٹیسٹ کر لیتے ہیں وہاں. یہاں آف کر کے میں وہاں جاتا ہوں تو پھر چیک کر لیتے ہیں کہ آپ کو آواز مل جائے تو آپ کو پتہ چل جائے کہ آواز میں کیا مسئلہ ہے. میری آواز آپ کو صحیح نہیں آئے گی. میں وہاں جاتا ہوں پھر یہاں دوبارہ آتا ہوں.
ٹھیک ہے سر. I think it's Sister Farhana. Maybe you can just wait for a while. We'll start at 4 p.m. in Hong Kong time. That should be 11 minutes from now. We'll start after 11 minutes. So you can wait here or you can come back at 4 p.m. It's up to you. Okay?
Assalamu alaikum. It's okay. I can just wait.
Sure. As you prefer.
Yeah, thank you.
پہلے تقریباً 15 منٹ ہے، اس میں بولنا تھا، اس کے بعد وہ بول سکتے. ٹھیک ہے. ذرا میوٹ کریے سمجھ رہے. اچھا مائک کھلے ہے.
السلام علیکم.
وعلیکم السلام. ابھی آپ لیپ ٹاپ سے کر رہے ہیں؟ ابھی آپ لیپ ٹاپ یوز کر رہے ہیں؟
آواز ٹھیک ہے؟
آپ کی آواز ٹھیک ہے، میری آواز آپ کو آ رہی ہے؟
ایک منٹ. اچھا ابھی دیکھیے تو آواز کیسی ہے؟
سر آپ کی آواز کلیئر ہے. آپ کو میری آواز ٹھیک آ رہی ہے؟
ماشاء اللہ. تو پھر تو ٹھیک ہے. اچھا میں آپ جو فائل شیئر بند کر دیجئے، میں فائل شیئر کرتا ہوں، دیکھتا ہوں کیسا ہوتا ہے.
ٹھیک ہے.
مجھے کو ہوسٹ کر دیجئے.
کو ہوسٹ اس میں نہیں ہوتا سر، لیکن آپ شیئر کر سکتے ہیں اسکرین. میں الاؤ کر رہا ہوں.
اوکے اوکے ٹھیک ہے ٹھیک ہے.
ہوسٹ ہو جائے گا.
آ گیا؟
یس سر آ گیا. ابھی پھر
ماشاء اللہ. ओके, फिर तो अच्छा हुआ ना, आवाज भी आ गई।
जी सर।
मैंने क्या किया, मैं लिंक में नहीं गया, मैंने वो इसको क्या कहते हैं, जूम को ओपन करके फिर मीटिंग नंबर दिया और पासकोड दिया, हो गया।
अच्छा, फिर हो सकता है आपके ब्राउजर में कोई मसला हो, अगर लिंक से नहीं खुल रहा।
हाँ, लिंक से नहीं, लिंक से मसला हो रहा है, लेकिन नंबर से मसला नहीं हो रहा। ये अभी अच्छा हुआ ना, आपसे चेक कर लिया, ताकि आगे चल के हम इस तरह नंबर से हम लॉग इन कर लेंगे।
जी हाँ।
तो आप वहाँ क्या करते हैं?
मैं स्टूडेंट हूँ फिलहाल। आई थिंक आप जब यहाँ पे आए थे इस्लामिक यूनियन में, आई थिंक आपकी टॉक थी, उस वक्त मिले थे। मैं
जी
स्टूडेंट
जी जी जी,
हूँ,
आप
साल चल रहा है, इंग्लिश
चेहरा
मेजर।
चेहरा याद है। जी, माशाल्लाह। तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि दोबारा हम आएंगे पैंडेमिक के बाद, क्योंकि
इंशाल्लाह।
इंशाल्लाह साउथ कोरिया वाला, वो लोग कह रहे हैं कि नहीं, हमें वेबिनार से चलेगा नहीं, हमें उनको चाहिए। तो बाकी अल्लाह की मर्जी, देखते हैं क्या होता है।
बिल्कुल।
तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, ये काम जो चल रहा है तो बहुत अच्छा हुआ। तो इसके बाद आपको आप ऐसे करना कि इसके बाद जब हम खत्म करेंगे 5:30 बजे आपका, तो उस वक्त आप ऑनलाइन, आप यहाँ आपको ये परमिशन दे देंगे, आप जैसे कि यहाँ आके मेरा स्क्रीन देख के आप बताइए कि मसला क्या है।
ठीक है, ये
अगर
मीटिंग कर लेते हैं
मीटिंग के बाद इंशाल्लाह।
फिलहाल। मैं
ठीक है
ट्राई करता हूँ सर नदीम को कॉल करने का, उन्हें
जी,
अभी तक
ठीक,
ज्वाइन कर लेना था, थोड़ी देर हो
जी
रही है।
ठीक है। I can see some brothers have joined.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Brother Muhammad Fathi, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Early morning with you, huh?
Yes, it is coming
Thank
to 9 o'clock. In fact, it for Greenwich Mean Time, it is close to 8 o'clock, but we are still in British summertime, so it's nearly 9 o'clock. At the end of October, we change back to GMT. What time is there in New Zealand?
It's about 8 o'clock p.m.
8 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So Hong Kong 4 p.m., you are 8 p.m. That's good, actually. It's good time for most people there. So I have asked. So Fiji, PNG would be same time?
PNG 2 hours behind. So
Okay.
PNG will be about 6 o'clock now. 6 o'clock
Okay, okay.
p.m. Like
So
Australia. Like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, the same time.
okay, okay. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. So inshallah, this is your first time, Brother Muhammad, in joining the webinar?
No, I did before, but I think 2 times or 3 times. But one of them, it wasn't good with when you know with you wasn't good the connection. But
Okay.
today is good. Yeah.
Today is good, alhamdulillah.
No, it's
Brother,
good like we set up.
Alhamdulillah. Brother Tahir has joined, who is running the program, chairing the program.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
Welcome.
rahmatullah.
Yes, this is Tahir Nadeem. Yeah. So
From
I
London.
have the from London. and I have the honor to host this program to start.
Alhamdulillah. So you can start at 9 o'clock, which is about 3 minutes away.
Yes, 3 minutes.
The Ahmed Lubis, where are you from? From Philippines?
From Indonesia, from Jakarta.
From Jakarta. Apa kabar?
Alhamdulillah. How about you? All of you?
Alhamdulillah. Kabar baik.
Meeting you.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes. I know how are you in 10 different languages. That includes Indonesian, Malaysian,
Okay.
and Turkish and Greek,
Yeah.
and Filipino,
Yeah.
Urdu, Arabic, English, Bangla. I'm from Bangladesh.
Oh, you're from Bangladesh. Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, I'm 68, but in 49 of those years are based in UK.
Okay.
So,
So nice meeting you, Brother Mamoon. Yeah.
yes, Alhamdulillah. Nice meeting you, Brother Ahmed.
Yes. Thank you.
Indonesia, Malaysia are people are, mashallah, very nice and polite people.
Yeah, always from the same route.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. I have some friends from Indonesia and Malaysia. One colleague, we work together. He's also in Jakarta. Muhammad Fadl Arafa Mariadi, his name.
Okay. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, it's there is Sulaiman Wang from Hong Kong, I assume. Then Sister Farhana Jainal. Where are you from, sister?
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
I'm from Philippines.
Okay. Kumusta ka?
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. I know, and I know Mabuti also. I'm fine. So this is something I learned when I was working in Saudi Arabia. And there were lots of Filipinos, and they are all good in technician role. So it was good.
Yeah, Brother Mamoon,
yes.
It is good if every participant having the full name and the place where it's come from. So to avoid that name by numbers or by something, everyone we know each other. So it's better to have the name full name and the place where they come from.
Yes, I think it's good if you can put your country or city after your name. It would be good. It's a good idea. Assalamu alaikum, brother Yunus. You are from Sydney, right? Hello? Yeah, the program is starting now.
Okay, Ustadz Mamoon, we can start?
Yes.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. So it's indeed my great honor and pleasure to host this program and to learn from all of you, especially our esteemed presenter, Ustadz Mamoon. So as most of you know, and just for those brothers and sisters who are new to this series of webinars, that this series of webinar is conducted by our Honorable Ustadz Mamoon Al-Azami. And basically this is IIIT's monthly community development webinar for Far East and Australasia. So I would like to, first of all, to start with today's webinar. It's also our great honor to have very honorable Imam Suleiman from Hong Kong to recite verses from the Holy Quran. So honorable Imam Suleiman, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم صدق الله العظيم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Walaikum assalam and Jazakumullah khair, Honorable Imam Suleiman from Hong Kong. Just before I begin with introduction of our honorable speaker and presenter, Ustadz Mamoon. So I would quickly like to introduce myself. My name is Tahir Nadeem Khan. So basically, I'm a teacher of English language and literature by profession. And I am accompanied with my former student and a student leader, Brother Adnan, who is a former chairman of Student Union of Islamic Qasim Tuat Memorial College in Hong Kong, and also one of my former students and Brother Yusuf Yu's former student. We are grateful to Brother Adnan for giving all the technical support for today's webinar. So as most of you know, but for our new brothers and sisters, this series of IIIT monthly community development webinar for Far East and Australasia is conducted by Honorable Ustadz Mamoon Al-Azami, who is a senior consultant, advisor, and director of global community development at Murabi. So we are really, really privileged to learn from him. He has more than 30 years of training experience and is an Adair ACL accredited leadership trainer. And as most of you know, that this series of webinar is conducted on every second Sunday of every month. And so far, as you can see on the YouTube channel, that there are similar seminars covered that in the recent past that covered the topics such as leadership based on prophetic model, human resources development in Islam, and human resource development in Islam, the concept and the process in different seminar, and then what and why of community development in the last program, and also what and why and how of community development in today's series. So I would also like to update you, because especially at the end of the seminar, when you will have an opportunity to ask questions and participate with your sharing and with your wisdom, that Ustadz Mamoon is basically, I mean, when it comes to his competencies and interest and research, his areas of expertise include community development projects, program planning, implementation and review of such planning, personal, family, social and organizational development, leadership development, and especially NGO management. This is, when it comes to NGO management, indeed, Ustadz Mamoon is an expert, and all of us, and especially our emerging leadership in the Muslim Ummah, can gain a lot from him. And he has got expertise in strategy, policy, procedural, practice, and structural development. So I would just quickly like to quote my personal experience, because I spent my entire career in Hong Kong before I moved to the UK a couple of years ago, that I attended Ustadz Mamoon's face-to-face 3-day workshop in Hong Kong back in February 2019, and a large number of audience actually attended in Hong Kong. That was face-to-face, and Ustadz Mamoon, we always miss you, and really Hong Kong community always look forward to have you again. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we are missing your training, face-to-face training. But thanks to IT, that we are still continuing with that. So sorry for taking too much of the time, and without any further ado, I would like to invite Ustadz Mamoon, and at the same time would like to express our heartfelt thanks to all the participants today for taking part and making this session a truly meaningful session. So let's pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that all of us really benefit from Ustadz Mamoon's session, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala empower us that we could apply all of our learning in our real life for community development. So Ustadz Mamoon Al-Azami.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm grateful for this program, and I'm very honored to have been introduced in the way that I consider above me, but inshallah I will try to grow into that kind of description, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Even though in community development, 15 years I have spent in British Public Service and 20 years in Islamic Development Bank covering 110 countries. I was leading the community development program in Islamic Development Bank. Now I'm doing the same for IIIT, alhamdulillah. So this is about how to perform community development. We talked about why and what is community development and why is it important. Now we talk about how, and how is the part where we actually implement things. And these are the contents are here. First, I quote from Quran and Hadith, and then I quote from scholars. Then in order to perform community development, we need to prepare the needs, what we need to do, and then projects to fulfill those needs. So we need to know how we identify and assess needs, and then we go into projects that will fulfill those needs. Then there is an issue of data collection and sample survey, so that we know how we establish those needs. And then we design a community project. So if you go step by step in this sequence, you will see that you are more effective. You can get the results that you want. Then some tips about delivering a community project. Then I'm going to identify cases in Kenya and Zanzibar that I have direct knowledge of. Then it is your time to share your experience. I know that you all have experience. I have just noticed that a senior professor from Bangladesh Agricultural University has joined, and he's also the president of IDB Graduate Association in Bangladesh. So I hope that he will share some of his experience and expertise, because he has been doing a lot of community projects. I personally know, because he from my IDB period. Okay, so before I go, can anybody mention any verse or any hadith from Quran and hadith on community development, on community or development or community development, both? Anyone in the chat box? I will give you say 15, 20 seconds if you want to share something. Otherwise, I'll just go. Okay, I'll go. Here, this is Surah 49, which is Surah Al-Hujurat. Hujurat is a surah which is about social relationships. And you will notice this says, يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. And I have highlighted the last part because it's the most important part. It says that you are created from Adam and Hawa, who did not have parents. I mean, just imagine they were created adults and they did not have parents. And then all the humanity came from them. And then we have been created into nations and tribes so that we can introduce each other. Like I'm from Indonesia, I'm from Hong Kong, I'm from Bangladesh, I'm from UK, and things like that. So this is Allah is saying you are not superior or inferior except in taqwa. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum is in the eyes of Allah, in the standards of Allah, the taqwa is most important. And taqwa is basically do's and don'ts. Following Allah and Rasul in the do's and don'ts. Taqwa is feeling and taqwa is action. Okay. And the next one is, this is again in terms of community development. وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. This is Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse number 2. So where we can cooperate with each other to bring about community development and where we cannot. And this is the, there is some noise coming, if you can check it out. So there is also a verse, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا. This is Surah Al Imran, and says to hold the robe of Allah, which is Islam, which is Deen, together and do not be divided. So if we have minor differences, why we have to focus on them? And also the diversity in Islam is so beautiful. It's like, I mean, if they focus on 90% of what they agree, like Allah and Rasul, Quran and Sunnah, 5 times prayer. I mean, we agree on 90%, but we always focus on 10%, and that's why Ummah is divided. But my example of diversity is the 5 fingers. They are all different, but that's why they are together and strong. This is a good team. So this is how we need to be, so that we can hold on to the rope of Allah. And also Allah is saying, Allah put your hearts together. So you became brothers to each other. And then there is another verse. This is for the ummah. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. So Allah is saying, you Muslims, you have been, as a collective, you have been selected by Allah for serving humanity, not just Muslims. This is important for us. Do we think about it? Do we think about the needy humanity that need our services? And then after the general statement, Allah is saying, you do what is right, enjoin what is right, forbid what is wrong, and believe in Allah. So 3 things to be done as the best ummah, best community. From Hadith, from Muslim, removing a difficulty, comforting a destitute, concealing faults of others. These are things Allah is, through Prophet ﷺ, saying, Allah will aid a servant so long as the servant aids his brother, meaning another person, another Muslim. So we need to help each other. This is the command of Rasulullah ﷺ. And also it is going to benefit us in dunya and akhirah both. If we remove somebody's difficulty, Allah will remove difficulty from me on the day of judgment. In fact, I have experienced that it also happens in dunya if Allah so wishes. So this is important, to be caring person, to serve others, to feel the pain of others, to join the joy of others. Then Allah is, the Prophet ﷺ is saying, Khairun nas man yanfa'un nas. The best of people are those who benefit other people. Then from Bukhari and Muslim, إِذَا مَاتَ الْإِنسَانُ إِنْقَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ. When a person dies, all his good deed accounts are closed, except 3 accounts are still open. Then it is the sadaqatin jariyah, ongoing charity, a charity that he started that continues to benefit people, and it is for the sake of Allah. So our intention is a key issue here. If I do charity for people's praise, then I get nothing from Allah. If I do it because Allah loves it and to please Allah, then people may praise me, but Allah is the core issue for me. So this is where ongoing charity I did for Allah, and I get benefit from it in my qabr. If I have distributed knowledge that's beneficial, that knowledge, as long as the impact stays, I get in the qabr the benefit. And righteous child who makes dua for me, my own children making dua for me. So I need to train my children accordingly. Okay. Now I have 7 quotes for you, some very famous people. Look at this. Albert Einstein is saying, the world is dangerous, not because who do evil, but because those who look on and do nothing. So in other words, if there is bad in the world, we have to do something about it. We have to organize and correct. And if necessary, we can organize and fight for it. But initially, we can advise, we can help the person to be better. George Bernard Shaw is saying, my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do it for whatever I can. So that means George Bernard Shaw is also the one who praised the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so he's saying, my life is to help others. There's a saying in English, if you want to be happy, make someone happy. Okay, this is Martin Luther King Jr., famous civil rights leader in America. It says the real question is, what are you doing for others? So if I do something for others, for nothing, that's something for the community. That's something that I'm actually leaving a legacy. Okay, Nelson Mandela is, sometimes we think it is impossible, but then he said, you start, you do it, then it becomes not impossible anymore. Another philosopher, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. So in other words, when we are together, we can do more than individually what we can do together. You see, it's like if everyone can do 2 alone, and 5 of us, that's 10 separately. But together we can do 20, because we can help each other, we can develop the ideas, we can do become stronger. Like the 5 fingers, they become stronger. Individually, they are not so strong. But 5 fingers together, they become a fist, strong. This is very nice one. It says, when you leave this world, you can take with you nothing that you have received, only that you have given. See? Really important. What we have given, this is also in Hadith I read yesterday. What we have given is what we get. What we have taken, we have to account for it. You see, we have to account for it. And it's a full heart, love, sacrifice, and courage, honest service. These are really important qualities. This is J.C. Penney is a big company. It says growth is never by mere chance. It's a result of forces working together. Forces working together, people working together. That's why we can grow individually. Okay? How to assess needs? Anybody wants to share in the chat box? Each section I will do that. I will ask first and then share later. Okay? Here is how, a summary of how we can do. And then parts of it I will explain. To start the process, do I have interest? If I have interest, then I get involved with people who have common interest. Then we take the initiative to do something. So in interest, in get involved and get start initiative. So these are the 3 I's that can begin the process. Then we can form an NGO, an organization, as a vehicle to deliver the service. And there are 4 stages of that NGO development. Storm, form, norm, and perform. Storm is brainstorming. We do brainstorming first. And then when we come to a consensus of some basic common ground, then we form the organization. Okay, we form the organization. Then we come to a normality of functioning as an organization. Then we can achieve results. So this is actually, it said originally where I got it from: storming, forming, norming, and performing. So those are the stages. Before we perform, we have to have those processes in order to get performance done. To identify needs, of course, we need primary data, government data, to say where, how many educated, where there are problems, what issues are there, that people are having gaps in their needs. So we need primary data. Secondary data, you can have some data in local areas, some data in local health service, local school, various local organization, and even local NGOs will have some secondary data. Then you can form a focus group who will focus on the issues and then discuss and come to a conclusion about the needs. You can also have a questionnaire, and on questionnaire, you can have 2 types of answers. One answer is open answer, like, what do you think should be done? Why do you like it? These are open, anybody can say anything. If you say closed questions, like, are you happy? The answer could be yes and no. So this is yes and no is the closed. So this limited answer. And open question and closed question. Closed question is you can only say yes, you can only say no. The open question. So I prefer a kind of open question, but with multiple answers. Usually 5 answers, 2 positive, 2 negative, 1 neutral. Okay, so that they can choose. And when I designed the questionnaire, I did several times. So I always had multiple choice answers plus comment if they want to write something more, so that when I analyze, I can classify them more easily. If I give them everybody to say everything, then how do I classify them? How do I analyze them? How do I make sense out of it? Therefore, it needs to be a questionnaire with multiple choice answers to choose from, and then the comment if they want to add something. Observation, we can see if somebody has torn clothes, we can see the person needs clothing. If we see somebody thin and rugged, we know the person is very poor, not having enough to eat, things like that. So observation of the assessor is also important in this process. Okay, then we have identified the needs. Then we need to prioritize, because not every need is most important. The food is most important, for example, to survive. But luxury food is not most important. Basic food is important. So like that, so we need to identify what are the most important needs of survival. Then it is a matter of comfort, then it is a matter of growth and luxury. So basic, then comfort, and then luxury. 3 levels of life, if you like. So what's most important? We need to establish priorities and then see how much we can do. What is our capacity? We can't do everything. The government may be able to do most of the things, but as NGO, as individuals, we can't do everything. So we need to identify what we can do and what we cannot do. So then we set structure. Stakeholders means all those who are connected, people who are benefiting, people who are providing, people who are funding, people who are running, people who are staff. All these people are stakeholders because they are connected by this program or project. And the communication mechanism between different components like this, the beneficiaries, the providers, the funders, the staff, the volunteers, all these must have some mechanism of communication so that they are recorded and reported and shared. Okay, these are how to assess needs for a project. It's in a nutshell, these are core issues. Okay, so we talked about data collection, now a little more detail. Official government data sources, other localized data, sample data collection and discussion, observation of experts on these issues, and then questionnaire I already mentioned. And then we can do MCQ is multiple choice questions. Mail shot is, we can just say mail shot doesn't produce so much result as personal interview or group interview. And we can do random sample survey. We can't survey thousands and thousands of people, but we can have a random something like 10% people. Between 5 to 10% is what random sample survey can be done. There are mechanisms. So this is a data and survey of the British Muslim in numbers. The top is total population of Muslims, and the bottom is different components. This is how Muslim Council of Britain, which is the umbrella body of 500 Muslim organizations, they have analyzed the government data like this. So we can actually analyze like this so that we can have different components. So we can have an overall picture of the profile of Muslims in UK. This is how the demographic, socioeconomic, and health profile of Muslims in Britain. So this is how, based on 2011 census, and this census is going to happen this year. So this is every 10 years. So this is how you can actually see a sample data. Now we go into from need to design a project because we want to meet community needs. Okay, this is how we design a project. We need to have objectives. These objectives, what are we trying to do? We need to be clear that we need to design a project that will fulfill some specific objectives. Okay, then we set targets, and the targets should be SMART, and the SMART means specific target, measurable means numbers should be given in the targets, achievable is it within the capacity of the people who will deliver it, realistic is the external environment suitable for delivering it, and timed is when it will be done. All the milestones. So this is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed. For this purpose, there are three formula we can use, three ways of situation analysis. SWOT is internal situation, PESTEL is external situation, and FOFI is a collection of both, combination of both. So SWOT analysis is strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. Threats are risks. Okay, so what strength do I have? What weakness do I have? What opportunities do I have? And what risks do I face? This is internal. And external is political situation, economic situation, social situation, technological situation, environmental situation, and legal situation. So without those analyses, we cannot really set a SMART target. FOFI is force and force field analysis, meaning force that will support me and force that will oppose me. So I can align with the force that will support me, and I can take measures to counter the force that will oppose me. It can be social, it can be organizational, or it can be community, whatever, or it can be some vested interests. So we need to analyze. The force field analysis is like that. Okay. The resources is not just money. Resources is know-how, people's knowledge and experience, expertise. Financial comes second. First is the human expertise. Know-how means knowledge and how to do it. Financial is, of course, money. Facilities is also resource. Like we have a place, we have equipment, we have these things that are needed to run a project. And the networks, meaning I have relationship with others, formal relationship with officials or informal relationships within the community. Even informal relationship with officials, maybe a classmate, a friend of yours who has become an official. So these networks, if you go through formal channel, it may not work. If you just pick up the phone and say, David, can you do it for me? Then it's done. So this way, this network is very important resource. Sometimes we ignore it, but it's very important. So not just money, you can see there are other things. So a community project will need decisions. So we need to decide who will decide what, when, and how, including urgent action. If there is, let's say you have a management committee and it meets every month, but in between you have to make an urgent decision, it can't wait. What do? You can have, in British local government and public service, they have a mechanism, what they call shares action, or they call the delegated authority. So the committee will delegate authority to the chairperson to make certain decisions or spend certain amount of money. And then the chair will be accountable to the committee. So this is called urgent action mechanism. So a decision that cannot wait. Okay. There will be recording and reporting lines of documents. So it needs to be preserved in the community project. The allocation of goals which is shared, roles which is not shared, which will be complementary to each other, and budgets for all the work that will be done. And there needs to be monitoring and supervision. Can you see how many issues are to be dealt with in designing a community project? So once this is done, then you are ready to run. Okay. I will give you some tips and then you can ask me questions. As a Muslim, I have to think about Allah first and the needy people second, so that we please Allah, we serve Allah's pleasure. We want to win Allah's pleasure by serving the needy people, because that's how Allah is saying we will win Allah's pleasure. So 3 levels I'm saying: first Allah, then needy people, then the community, wider community. Because needy people are not everybody. There are people who can give, there are people who need to take. So this is the first thing, is connection with Allah and pleasing Allah, because otherwise we will not get anything in Akhirah. So that's why I say good deeds and pious deeds are not the same, even though it's the same. Good deeds are like this, helping others, but pious deeds are the same deed with the intention to please Allah. With the intention to please Allah, then we get reward from Allah. This is important. So good deeds are good deeds like to serve people, to please myself, to please people, but Allah is not in the picture. Pious deeds, same deed with Allah's intention. So this is important, good deed and pious deed. The development principles, this was done last month, that there needs to be justice, there needs to be equity, there needs to be empowerment of people, there needs to be togetherness, and there needs to be action. These 5 are not my formula. This was done by an organization here in UK. So the community development principles are 5. These are the 5. That community development is about justice, about equity, not equality. Equality is the same. Equity is according to the need. Okay. Then empowerment of people to control their own lives and their own situations. So they need empowerment. They need that space. They need that opportunity. They need that ability. And togetherness means to work together, to come together. Together we work and learn and work. And action is we actually take action. Togetherness is putting the hearts and minds together, but action is doing it together. Okay. So that's in summary. I put in the order I changed so that it becomes an acronym. So I can make a word, JITA. Okay. So to run a community project, we need integrity. This is always for decades, this has been the top quality of leadership and management. Integrity means I am transparent, I am honest, I am devoted, and I do not go into bias focus like that. So this is integrity, humility, and humanity. Humility is I'm not showing off. Humanity is I care about people's needs and people's survival and prosperity needs. Then be responsible, approachable, and accountable. Responsible means I take my responsibility seriously. Approachable means I'm friendly enough for people to feel at ease to come to me, to talk to me. Accountable is when I am responsible, but I'm serving people and I'm accountable for my responsibility. So to both all the stakeholders, meaning those who receive my service and those who fund me, those who are my management and things like that. Okay. And we need continuous professional development. The 2 most important parts we need to take care of is the relationship and money. If those 2 go wrong, then we will have big problems coming in. Okay. Let me show you 2 case studies. This is one case study in Kenya. 10 doctors discussed and planned a medical project. And I know personally the head of the 10 doctors. And then what they did was to identify acute need of rural poor area, a Muslim area. So they chose a Muslim rural area where Muslims are very poor and they don't have hospital nearby. They don't have medical facilities. So what 2-3 doctors did was to mobilize doctors, nurses, and collect medicines. And then they secured some materials, raised funds, and then they negotiated low and no cost buses and hotels. So they said, we are going to give our time free for the poor people. What are you going to do? So they negotiated with buses. So buses cut the cost of hiring so that they can go there to the remote area. And the local hotels, not in the remote area, nearest hotels, they also negotiated cost down. They said, we are giving free time, so you may also cut your cost. So they also did the same. So this is also an important component of this case study. Then they coordinated local leaders of the project who will actually make arrangements for the doctors and nurses and to come and serve them. Then they went there, they spent a weekend, they provided treatment, minor operations, and etc. And it's a wonderful service they did. So from time to time they go there, and they gave health advice too. So this is a project. A project is start and finish. A program is ongoing. So that's the difference between project and program. So this is how the poor people who never could hope to get service, they got service from Muslim doctors and nurses like that. The case study in Zanzibar is not just health service, but it's a wider health service. What they did was one doctor who qualified under IDB, and both doctors are IDB scholars, Islamic Development Bank. I was working in scholarship division. What he did was he qualified as a doctor from Turkey, and he went back to Zanzibar, which is an island of Tanzania, an autonomous island of Tanzania. Then he and his friends took a survey of what's needed. They visited rural community far away from the city. They raised funds and medicines for the project. And these funds, interestingly, because this man, the head, is qualified from Turkey, he connected with Turkey. He also connected with the funding bodies of UK and raised funds from both. Because Turkey, being Ottoman Empire, has lots of waqf who spend money globally to fund projects. Then they mobilized 10 specialist doctors and 5 nurses, 15 of them, and specially conducted ENT consultations and also operations. Free, all of this free. Then they set up a local clinic with a local health worker who have been trained by them, who has been trained by them. Then they felt that there is no safe drinking water that causes a lot of ill health. So they also provided drinking water project and tanks. I've seen many pictures of these. I've not been to Zanzibar, but I have talked to the person who visited me in the scholarship division, and I also talked to him over the phone. So you can see how the 2 projects were set up and run. These were weekend projects. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask questions, then we go into exercise. So these are the questions or comments. Can you now speak? You can see one of them is John Adair. This is John Adair on the right, top right. There's somebody calling from Sydney. Okay, so do you have any questions? Any questions? Yeah, unmute and speak. Or comments. How did you find it? How did you like it? And any suggestions for me? Okay,
Yeah,
let
excuse
me
me.
start from Jakarta. My brother Ahmed.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentations. I think this is really interesting. Like in Indonesia, we have a lot of mosques have program for community development program.
Mashallah.
Maybe based on your experience, 30 years experience, maybe like in Al-Azhar Mosque is in Jakarta, and also like Salman Mosque in Bandung, close to Bandung Institute of Technology.
Right.
They have programs to develop community. So they call it like to build the community from downstream to
Upstream.
upstream. Yeah, based on the uniqueness of the area.
Right.
This we develop it by cooperation with the ABC, the academician, business and government, and also the community in there. Based on experience, do you have some kind of model, IIIT models later? This is really good to be installed in many mosques in around the Muslim countries. Some
Yes,
of them realized by a very well-known institution in the world. If we can really build this kind of model, maybe we can really bring the most values to the world, and especially to the other nations. I think this is really important, brother. Thank you.
I agree, Brother Ahmed, that this is a very important point, particularly because a mosque is not just a prayer place. It is the Islamic Community Development Center, an Islamic Family Center. It is for everyone. It is Human Resource Development Center. It is community development, starting with individual, family, and society. So mosque as an institution has to play that role. They must have, because it's a space that we need, space to do things. And it is a space, 5 times prayer takes only, what, maximum 2 hours? Not even 2 hours. But it can still be used for literacy, numeracy, project development, varieties of learning and experience, etc. So it is an excellent idea to have all these. I have model in my head, and I can develop a model paper where it can be customized and practiced by the mosques. So with the mosque in mind, I usually say to all those who want to do community development work, what I call Islamic community development, is for them to adopt a mosque. You don't have to be on the committee, but you can help the committee and develop the mosque services. For example, a mosque imam is, as imam, he can be a powerful and influential person in terms of, let's say, husband-wife relationship problems, parent-children relationship problems, neighbors relationship problems. They can prevent and they can resolve disputes. All these things can come from the mosque, and it has its special influence. So yes, this would be an important project for the committee, and particularly to utilize the imam services. I have myself been supporting a mosque in Bangladesh where the imam is giving teaching for literacy and numeracy and is health education. Imam's wife is doing for the ladies, and imam is doing for the male. So this is for them extra work. So I give them extra supplementary salary, so that the imam can play a community development role from Islamic base. And this is a very important point you raise. Certainly, I will work on that on a paper, not just a presentation, a detailed paper that can be shared. So I will take note of that a very important suggestion you have made. What you can also do is spread the idea that the mosque is the Islamic community development hub for the Muslims.
Yeah.
So they play fundamentally individual quality improvement and family quality. If you have what I have come to call building a Quranic family, meaning Quran Sunnah family, that's where the individuals learn. First, school is mother. So this is how, if their parents are trained enough to teach their children, then there is no other bigger influence than parents. So this is also a teaching a mosque can promote. So mosque can actually reach and influence each individual families. And this way, certainly, this is a very important suggestion. Thank you, brother. Anybody else?
Yes, brother. Hello. Yeah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Jazakallah khair, brother Mamoon, for this presentation. Really, what you talking about is communities providing services for the community. And the problem from my experience I have seen in the Muslim community in many places, and especially in the Occident, the East, Western country, where the Muslim is the minority, the Muslim community, they are not one body or one voice or one group. And this mixity in general is good if they respect the basic scientific relation exists in the community. What I'm saying by that is just like coordinating the work together in the community. I found that always there is a duplicating of services provider, and in that case, not all Muslim community benefit. I found, for example, let me say, the Pacific area, where is many Muslims minority community exists in the island, in Pacific Island, but they are not all of them getting help or getting assistance, because the people, the Muslim who do out or working or they provide help, they're not organizing between them or coordinating between them to provide the same service for everyone. So when you find one island, everyone concentrate on that island, and not some other people, some other place, no help, no service. So in that case, as you mentioned in your presentation, where people together identify as a coordination the need in the area or even in the small community, as you said, the mosque. We're not using the real role of the mosque. We say some of them, or many of the community using the mosque as worship place, as a church, which is not right.
Yes.
We are not. Our mosque is not a church where only coming to a prayer. It is a gathering community for a community, and everyone in the Muslim community can find or need to find what they need or to resolve their matter or their problem in the mosque. So, and the community is really, if we can concentrate more and more to try to coordinate, let me work together. Let me work together. And when we work together, coordinate and identify the needs, and then delegate. I can do this service. You can do the other service. The other one can do the other service. I can go to that area. You can go to the other area. So everyone, the effort will be distributed and divided between everyone. And in that case, no hardship will happen, and everyone will benefit. My last remark, which is regarding when we say competitive, we compete together. Okay, that's fine.
Right.
But we're not forgetting that the sincerity or niyyah, which exactly mentioned in your project, in your study presentation, that niyyah it is for Allah. We
Right.
do our best because we don't. Of course, every we do it with wages or salary or paid, whatever. The basic thing, the priority, the primary thing is to that please Allah. That's the
Right.
thing.
Right.
So when we got please Allah, we do our best and Allah will give us success.
Exactly.
We give us a
Exactly.
reward. In the dunya, of course, and in the end, which is in the akhirah, what's really element to it.
Right.
So it becomes niyyah, sidq niyyah, the piety, the taqwa, the sincerity, the help, the honesty, those all kind of those things will help. Jazakallah khair, inshallah, we'll have more, of course, other topic and discussion more and more,
Inshallah.
in
Inshallah.
a practical. Jazakallah
For
khair.
all, for the information of everybody else, Brother Muhammad Fathi is the IIIT coordinator for the based in New Zealand, but he's looking after Dawah work in the Pacific Islands. So I got connected with him through Dr. Ahmad Tetanji, who gave me, and he's the one when I first announced Brother Muhammad Fathi and Brother Yusuf, you are the two people who responded first. When I, towards the end of last year, when I circulated this webinar proposal. Alhamdulillah. I want to ask Brother Professor Dr. Abu Zafar, because he has been with rich experience of doing community development work in and around the agricultural university, which is the top agricultural university in Bangladesh. And he's the president of IDB Graduate Association in Bangladesh. He has been running many projects. If you would like to focus on something that you have done for the lowest paid staff of the university, that would be good to start. In future, we would like to listen to some others. He's also helping the farmers to do better, because that's his specialty. He's also a postdoctorate fellow. So and he was a senior professor. I think you were also dean at one time. So please, Professor, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I am happy to join this webinar very first time. And at the same time, my apology, I got many invitations before, but I could not join, or I did not join, whatever you may say. Today, I enjoyed the presentation. The presentation was a very formal approach to do something, a community development. Unfortunately, this is my office day actually in Bangladesh, and I'm in the office. So okay. I also at the same time I was busy with something to do. So I'm sorry I could not be attentive for a whole the presentation, but I think the record is there. I could go through, but I appreciate that this is a very much structural way of to do something in for community development. I did my PhD from Japan in 1998. Since then, I engaged myself in different type of charity activities. I think I should say one item today or all.
One item would be good, because we will want to listen to you more in future.
Next
he's doing maybe a dozen projects he's running. So mainly because he, being a very senior man in the university, he's not just academic, he's also a practitioner of Islamic community development. And I want you to focus on what you have done for the lowest paid university staff.
Yes, I like to focus on that. So there is a staffs, a group of staffs in the university, the 4th class employee, we say 4th class, and there is 3rd class also, but 4th class employee. So they have low salary, and often they need money more than their salary. So they have to take the money as loan or borrow. But the system, local system, there are some rich people, they are sitting there to give their loan in very high interest rate, like 10% in a month, not in a year.
Astaghfirullah.
Okay?
That's 120% a year.
In a year, yes.
60%.
So if someone takes 1 lakh taka, so he has to pay
1 lakh means 100,000.
100,000, yeah. He has to pay this amount as interest in 10 months, similar amount, but still that on 1,000, 100,000 remain as capital. Okay, this is the scenario. So if they need some more money, then the amount increased. Sometimes they have to lose the job and take the retirement benefit to pay the loan. So I started a project to help them to get rid of this interest-based loan by giving interest-free loan. Interest-free loan. So what should be the source of this loan? So I make a project or program. The name is Savings and Services Program. Savings and Services Program. So I asked people, the sponsors, okay, so you give me money, it would remain as your savings. And for example, if someone give 1,000 taka, if I can get from 100 people, it is 100,000 taka. So if I give someone 100,000 taka, he gets rid of the interest of 100,000 taka for that month. And then he starts paying the amount he used to pay as interest, pay as capital to me, return to as capital to me.
MashaAllah.
So in this way, for example, if it's 100,000 and then in 10 months, if he can, so in 10 months, he got rid of the loan. This is free from loan. Okay. So this is the system. So I asked people to join and I have to propagate. I have to go door to door to collect the sponsors. So this is 6 years and 8 months or 9 months.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
Going on. And so far I gave around 90 people, more than 3 crore of taka.
That's 30 million.
30 million taka. I think I should have converted in USD.
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
Yeah. So people give me money. So I collected about 500 sponsors or even more.
MashaAllah.
So many of them took the money back. And I got also the 2/3, maybe 60 or 70% money already returned from the people who got benefited from it. And out of 90 people, around 35 people already become loan free. So they don't have any more loan. No.
It's a rotating fund. It's a rotating
yes,
fund.
It is also rotating, yeah. So the people are depositing to me as a sponsor, and I give it to the people who needs. So when they return, I can give it to the new people if the sponsor does not ask for their amount return in any month. So for example, in September, if I get maybe 3 lakhs taka,
300,000.
Yeah,
300,000.
sorry.
Because in Bangladesh
I'm in
and
national
Pakistan,
level.
India, this terminology is used only in the subcontinent.
Okay.
So they're used to it. Yes, go ahead.
So then if the sponsor does not ask me to return in this month, then I can give to new people who needs the money. So this is the way it's going on. So Alhamdulillah, I could help so many people with the help of many people. And I should acknowledge that Brother Mamoon Al-Azami is also one of the sponsor of this program. Because
that was when I was in Islamic Development Bank.
I met twice him in the workshop program. I met twice to him and his son also there. May Allah keep him in Jannah.
Yeah,
so,
my eldest son died 2 years ago, and he used to be
he was the teacher of us,
leadership trainer, and Professor Dr. Abu Zafar is one of the winners of IDB's Excellent Leadership Award.
I got twice.
Twice, right?
Twice, yeah.
MashaAllah.
After 3 years. Now that the program is closed now, but if it continued, then I would get another.
Yeah, when I left,
every 3 years.
when I left, when I retired, they closed my most of my programs.
Yes, and I think they have some fund shortage also. Like I'm sure. Anyway.
Okay.
So that's all. I think next time I will tell about other.
Okay. Now let's learn from this project. Can anybody share what they learned from? There are a lot of rich pickings from this. Can anybody share what you learned from this professor's project?
Brother Mamoon,
yes.
This is what he said is not enough for this time. We need more than explanation.
No,
more,
let me say
yeah,
what I can identify. A big man like him in most places would not think of the small people. And he not only did that, he concerned himself with the lowest staff of his institution. And he collected money from others to help them. Their savings, okay, you are living in the bank, leave it with me and I can help people. And when you need, give me a month's notice, I'll pay back. So that means people in position can do something. So this is one lesson. I know the system in detail, so I can explain. While he's at work, I can explain on his behalf because I discussed with him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
at length.
much.
So what he did was his high level position. I would say 99% people in his position would not do what he is doing. This is because of his religious commitment, his Islamic dawah commitment. So he felt that he had to do something. So how many professors do you find going to people and say, can you give me your savings or donation for this fund that I want to help the poorest staff in the, that's the nearest to him who deserve that attention, not on the street, but close to him, working with him every day. So this is one thing. It's a kind of attitude. He took interest and he started initiative. But what he did was to collect money. Let's say 500,000 taka he collected. Now it's much bigger. And then it is administering is also a time-consuming matter. He had to administer who deserves how much for how long. So he has a system whereby he says, okay, you get 100,000 taka, and because you pay 10% interest, you don't pay interest anymore because you return the money to him, but you pay that 10% or 10,000 a month to repay the capital. So in 10 months, you are clear. So this way, rescuing these people from the stranglehold of the loan sharks. So this way, this 100,000 given to him comes back in 10,000 in 10 months. So this is, so collecting money, distributing money, and recovering money. This is an administrative job, which he's spending a lot of time on. So he has to judge who deserves help first and second and third. So this is one side. He also collects donation, which becomes a revolving fund to help the others. So you have the deposit of others, which has to be returned, and he has the donation fund, which doesn't have to be returned, but it can rotate. So he has two kinds of funds. Okay, so this is very beneficial because people, most of us are, shall we say, in middle class or upper middle class or elite level kind of people. We can do something that many others cannot do. We can do something that many others cannot do. So in terms of money, I'll give you I'll give an example. When my wife died in 2004, the son who died, his mother died in 2004 of cancer. Both of them died in cancer. So during that time, my uncle had an idea. That was Ramadan to 2004. My uncle, my brother, father's younger brother, who lived next door, he had an idea. He said, because we had a mosque, we go to mosque every 5 times a day. So he would come there and he would say, Mamoon, I want to talk to you about this idea. He said, all of you working abroad, can you give me 5,000 taka to help our villagers who are very poor? And I want to give them. So I said, instead of giving them away, just as donation, give them interest-free loan for something they can earn with. So give them poultry or fish or some kind of work equipment. Those are not cheap set of equipment they can work with, and then this can help them. So what he did, and I prepared the email, and I sent email while my wife was dying. He asked me, and I thought that it could help me and my wife too. So I prepared the email and it went out, and people sent money to him. So what he did was to convert his donation idea into interest-free loan idea of our professor who just shared. So 3 years later, he said, Mamoon, come and see what we have done. He showed me record of 26 families became self-reliant in 3 years. Now, can you see what can be done with cash and some focused planning? The planning was, okay, there's a 3-wheeler. So he said, okay, a second-hand 3-wheeler is cheaper. We will buy it, but you pay every week or every month from your earnings. And this way, also interesting is that these poor people, like Professor Abu Zafar, these poor people returned the money. Nobody defaulted. It's the rich people who usually default. The poor people usually do not default. So 26 families did not need money. They just used, they bought, instead of giving them cash, they bought things for them. And it became an earner for them. So they could survive. So this way, it could be something we can learn from professors, that any position you hold, it can benefit you in mobilizing. Because he's a senior professor, when he asks somebody, can you give me 100,000 taka, your savings to keep for helping the poor? It's not anybody else, anybody asking. So similarly, our brother in New Zealand is a highly respectable man. If he asks somebody, they will pay. Our brother Tahir Nadeem is English language and literature teacher. He has a respectable position. Brother Yusuf Yu, who was principal of the Islamic College in Hong Kong, is a respectable person. Brother Ahmad Lubis from Jakarta, and Brother Jamil Osman, who is IIIT coordinator for the ASEAN region, I guess, for 10 or 12 countries. He's a professor emeritus of Islamic University, Malaysia. So when that kind of person asks for help from the same kind of people for the poor, it shows a leadership and care, a caring leadership of a highly placed person, a highly respected person, and therefore they can help, and this Allah gives barakah in it. So we are all here, important people, and we can do something for the poor and to become self-reliant. So this is really important. We talked about mosque, we talked about helping the poor in rotating and fund, that's donation, and we also talked about making them self-reliant. So can you share something like that, others? Can Brother Muhammad Fathi, the question is, have you tell us something that you have done for the community? I know you have done many things, being the coordinator for the Pacific region for IIIT coordinator. But the Jamil Osman is the coordinator for Indonesia, Malaysia, and ASEAN region. So you are both coordinators, mashallah. So can you share something that you have done for the poor?
Before sharing, just regarding what the professor says regarding these projects, which is really, I had a discussion in, to implement it in PNG, Papua New Guinea, and in other islands. Unfortunately, with the COVID, we couldn't do anything really yet. But I have two questions, if you can answer, regarding the risk management with this project, and which is really very strong, and also regarding the contribution from the local people for any places, like for example, you said in Bangladesh or in facing PNG, for example. Is there any when people contribute from their part will help to get a successful project?
Yes.
So
it is an important issue. Risk assessment is that if the people do not pay back because they can't pay back, not that they don't want to pay back, but they can't pay back because maybe they're doing something, it didn't work. So that risk is there, and we have to understand the situation and the risk that we face. And there are two kinds of risk. One is the intention risk. Is he going to be dishonest? The other is the project risk, that the work that he's doing, is it going to succeed? Or if it fails, then it is not his dishonesty or incompetence, it's just that some businesses fail and some kind of, but it's a very small level. Also, risk assessment is you don't give somebody big amount at the beginning. You give small amount. With Professor Abu Zafar Maslihuddin, they are all staff in his university, and he's a big man in the university. Therefore, he has a kind of access to their salary situation, and therefore that was not as risky as outside. For example, my uncle doing it in our village was risk because either there is dishonesty, or there is incompetence, or there is bad luck. So these have to be taken into account. But initially, somebody new, you give small, and then let me give you a good example. You know, everybody knows Professor Yunus of Bangladesh, who got Nobel Peace Prize. When I was in IDB, the president was Dr. Ahmad Muhammad Ali, who retired, and then there are two other presidents came in. Now the third president is there. So what he did was to influence this Professor Yunus to do interest-free, because his Grameen Bank charges up to 40% interest. So Dr. Ahmad Muhammad Ali influenced him to do something without interest. So he got inspired by that idea because it was coming from a big man, Dr. Ahmad Muhammad Ali, the president of Islamic Development Bank, which gives funding for $10 billion a year. So he started thinking, look at this, how this man was moved from interest away from interest. He took a beggars project. He collected some beggars, and I listened to his lecture in Islamic Development Bank. So he said, I collected some beggars and said, I'm going to give you $10 worth of toys. Since you go from door to door anyway for begging, you might as well sell them. And if you return the money, next time I will give you $20 of toys. So he said that by the end of the year, there were 100 and something, I think 160 or some beggars became mobile business people, businessmen and businesswomen, because they found because these toys are liked by the children of the homes they were going for begging. So they could sell them and became self-sufficient. But he didn't give $20 first, he gave $10 first. And once they returned, they got $20 because that proved their business honesty and competence. These two are needed to run a business. And they go to door. There's no other cost involved. There's no rent, there's no bill to pay. They just walk. This way, it's a wonderful story he gave. And in fact, I conveyed this to others. So we can do the same. So this way, the risk is, he took the risk assessment that, okay, if I lose the $10 to each person, but all of them will not. They have an incentive to return the money so that I can pay him again. And he could become, or she could become, it's also both male and female, become self-reliant. Very interesting project. So these are ideas that need small amount of money and using the same people who are going door to door for a different purpose and become business people and self-reliant, and income grows much bigger than the begging. And it doesn't depend on people's mercy and kindness. It depends on selling something. Instead of people coming to the shop goes to the people. So this is very interesting project that's worth considering how you can do in the, you know, in that region, Brother Muhammad Fathi, in your region, of course, there has to be some people who will buy things. Otherwise, what you can also do is your network people. For example, in Indonesia, I have a friend who is trying to help people learn computing, and he rents computer. And he's my LinkedIn friend. Through LinkedIn, I got connected and we became good friends. It's now over a year. So he said that I'm collecting money for renting computers so I can give training. So I contributed something and he gave me the results. This way, because I have connection in 110 countries, as a pensioner, I can give bits and small amounts, but it works. I gave $50 and he could provide training for 3 months by renting a few computers. So this way, there are many, many ways to help people. These are all for Allah, for community development. They learn the skill, they go and sell the skill to earn money, and that becomes self-reliant. So it is a skill issue in Indonesia that I just described. So there are many ways of doing things. So, Brother Muhammad Fathi, it's important that when we deal with cash or things, there are risks, and we need to assess the risk and take small risk first, build a rapport, build confidence, build experience, and then we can take bigger risk and calculated bigger risk. Alhamdulillah. Brother Jamil Usman, welcome to the show. Brother Jamil, would you like to share something, because you are doing so many things? This is a retired professor from Islamic University, Malaysia.
Yeah.
Can we see you also?
He's in Indonesia or in Malaysia now?
In Malaysia, he's in Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur, mashallah.
Yes, Brother Jamil, Professor Dr. Jamil, would you like to share something good to learn for us? Who else wants to share something? We are coming to the close. I have to hand over to Brother Tahir Nadeem. Okay, Brother Tahir, I return to the floor to you.
Yes, Brother Honorable Ustadz Mamoon, Jazakumullah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward all brothers and sisters
Ameen.
for making this event truly meaningful. And it is indeed very inspiring, because you have stimulated us to come out of our comfort zone and just try using smaller bits and pieces. And I was really inspired by brothers. Actually, we have been doing similar things in our career in Hong Kong, that going door to door for your mission with humility.
Our Professor Jamil is here. Maybe
Okay,
It's okay. It's okay. Let him continue it.
No, I would
Yes.
like to hear something
Welcome.
before
No,
he
no,
concludes.
no. When our honorable Professor Jamil is here, Dato, so it's our great honor. So I will stop immediately.
No,
and,
no. You go first. You go first. Inshallah, I will listen to you.
I will continue my concluding remarks
No,
at the
no.
end. So,
No.
Professor, please.
Please, you are asking something. Please.
Okay, let me
Professor Mamoon
complete.
would like
Just
to-
complete. Just
Brother,
complete what I was
Professor
saying.
Dr. Jamil, just share something, some
You
nasiha.
respond to him first.
Okay, so I conclude like this, that we have refreshed the stimulation that we should come out of our comfort zone, trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that some small steps taken with sincerest humility can make a bigger difference. Jazakumullah khair. Over to Professor Usman, our honorable Dato.
Thank you very much, Professor Mamoon. So, especially for inviting me, and even for Brother Yusuf for sending me the link of the today's meeting. We have not been listening to you quite sometimes, you know. Alhamdulillah, you look fit. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, I'm 68 years young.
You are in UK now?
Yeah, I'm in London, and Greater London, not inner London, outer London.
I'm sorry I was a little bit late because of the time zone.
I know you are a very busy man.
No, I thought
many
it
things
is
to
about
manage.
5 o'clock, about 12 o'clock Jeddah time, which is about 5 o'clock Malaysian time. Is it? We just started, is it? I'm not sure. It's 5:30 now.
Yeah, 4 o'clock we start every second Sunday. Every second Sunday, 4 o'clock. Your time.
4 o'clock Hong Kong
Malaysia,
time.
Malaysia time, Hong Kong time,
Malaysian
yes.
time. Oh, so it means you're almost 1 hour of your lecture. No? That can be 5.
So 5:30 is the finishing time. Your time.
Okay. Yeah.
But inshallah, next time, Brother Yusuf can give you, I can send you a link.
No, wrongly calculated the time. No, I thought Jeddah time is 5 o'clock. 12 o'clock means our time here is 5. So it's 4.
No. So now you know it is 4 o'clock Malaysia time every second Sunday.
I think your topic today is more or less like social financing. Is that right?
Today's was how to deliver community development.
Yeah, I know.
How do you design a project? What are the steps to go through? And then how do you...
more on economics, is that right?
And social financing, you can say.
Social financing, yeah.
Yes.
So similar to what Brother Yunus is doing, is that right?
That's the ending part where I said that, but actually we talked about the resource mobilization, which means not just money, but also equipment, facilities, networks. All these are resources. Like let's say whatever we connections we have, it can cut short any bureaucratic delay. For example, if I know somebody in the official, I just pick up the phone and all the bureaucracy is done.
That's
so
right.
This network is very powerful.
In developing country can be done that way.
Yes, even in UK, you know, it's a cold calling. If I don't know somebody, and I go there, if I go with somebody that they know with the reference, then it works wonders. They will normally do bureaucratic processes. Something comes and it goes to entry, and then it gets to the person to deal with, and then it gets replied. That time will be immediately cut. If I just connect with somebody that I know, can you deal with it? And then it is done instantly. So it works here too. So if it is 2 weeks, you will have something result in 2 days.
Yeah. So the social financing, the model of Brother Yunus, will be successful in the lower and medium income country like Indonesia, for example. A lot of people are doing it. Alhamdulillah, you are very fruitful. Some professors were following the footsteps of Brother Yunus, for example, to infaq their money to the poor people, and then they will pay it back, as you said.
You have to understand that there are two types. Professor Yunus's main project is up to 40% interest, which is the Grameen Bank formula. But because of Dr. Ahmad Muhammad Ali's influence, he started an interest-free initiative, which is starting with the beggars. And he was highly successful. And I did myself a social financing project in my village through my uncle. And it became highly successful because the poor people repaid. And in 3 years, 26 families became self-reliant. So, and
so
the money revolving.
How can this model to assist the needy people, for example, in like Hong Kong, I'm not sure the concept of the needy people, the poor people in Hong Kong. Maybe some brothers there can highlight to us. The situation in Hong Kong might not be the same like in Bangladesh.
Of course,
or
it
in
has
Malaysia.
to be customized. It has to be customized.
Right.
But you know, Brother Dato, Professor, an ex-dean, Professor Dr. Abu Zafar is also here. He was dean. He's a university, agricultural university professor. He's also IDB Graduate Association leader of Bangladesh. He has been doing it for many years now, 6 years, he said, 6 years, 8 months. So it's social financing and to help the poorest paid people in his university. Now, for a man, big man, he's another big man like you. For a man like that, to take that project on and help people come out of debt and come out of interest-based financing is an excellent. So I would ask Professor Dr. Abu Zafar, if you can write the concept and the mechanism, it would help. Then I will share it to not just here.
Professor Zafar can email to us, because I am also in the process. Maybe I can invite you for one talk for Philippine brothers for this social financing, inshallah.
Right. Okay. That's fine.
Especially in the southern part of Philippines.
Yes, I mean, there are many ways. I can give a lot of ideas, and I have been involved by myself with it. And my background, first degree is in economics, by the way. And then second degree was economic development. Third degree was community development. And then development studies masters. So I have all development.
Your experience is more important in your degree.
Of course.
You have very good experience with the developing countries, especially in the IDB,
Alhamdulillah. So
thank you very much.
So back to Brother.
When can we meet again in Hong Kong?
Inshallah, it's up to you to plan it because you planned it last time.
No, but Yusuf will plan it.
Yes, I'm always available. And look at nice smile you give. This smile is sadaqah. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. You Dato, you had a plan about Cambodia, Singapore, and
Philippines.
Philippines. You may think after pandemic, you may plan to revive that plan.
Yeah, inshallah. I think Cambodia and Philippines, even in southern Thailand,
yes, Patani region.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
So Brother Yusuf will tell you how important in Hong Kong. We do not know the approach. Like there are some the needy people. There are some needy people, like in England also.
Yes. I mean, in fact, under the Tories, we have more poor people than before.
Yeah.
Because they are favoring the rich.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Okay, back to Brother Tahir to conclude.
Jazakumullah khair, Honorable Dato and Ustadz Mamoon. So there was very rich question and answer and experience sharing session by honorable brothers and sisters. And as now it's 10:36 in the UK time, and I guess 5:36 Malaysia time, Hong Kong time. So we are towards the end, and I would like to request all our respected attendees that please circulate the YouTube link for this session so that it could reach to many of our brothers and sisters to benefit from this very meaningful webinar. So with this, let's conclude today's session with heartfelt gratitude to everyone, especially our respected Ustadz Mamoon for taking time and inspiring all of us. So Jazakumullah khair. So inshallah, we will continue with our collective effort. And may I request Ustadz Mamoon to lead the dua to conclude the session?
Okay, inshallah. Just to mention that Brother Muhammad Yunus from Sydney, he was calling me. Remember, I was saying somebody calling me from Australia. He couldn't get in, so then he managed to get in. So at least we have Sydney, Australia represented. Okay.
Mashallah, mashallah. Yeah, thanks to Brother Adnan for taking care of the technical side. So it went very smooth.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And he will help me after the meeting. He has to help me something about my laptop.
Sure.
I've already arranged with him. Okay, the concluding dua for meeting is Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.
Ameen. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair.
Wa iyyakum.
See you again, inshallah. In next
inshallah.
Inshallah.
Nice to see you, Brother Jamil.
Okay, inshallah.
Nice meeting you all.
Okay.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Yeah,
so only me and Brother Adnan, we have to sort out some technicalities in my laptop.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, Brother Adnan. Are you there, Brother Adnan?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to see how I can remotely control your computer.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to be an option for this Zoom.
Okay, at least I know how to get by numbers rather than by link. By numbers, it seems to work. So I will use it in future, inshallah.
Sure.
At least you have given me a solution today. Previously, I used to use my mobile and I couldn't share the screen. So now I could this time.
Not from me. Let me see what I can offer you later on. I'll contact you by WhatsApp.
Brother Muhammad Yunus, open your camera so everybody, before going, they can see you. Let's see the Sydney man. He's originally from Fiji, but moved to Sydney.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Brother Ahmad from Jakarta, you can organize something in those two mosques that you mentioned. We can talk things through, inshallah.
Okay. Yeah, this I think really good model. When we can cooperate with OIC, so people IT will share many good things. I think this is we have to work together. Yeah.
Yes. No doubt about that.
Rich OIC with all the good and the pro and contra things. I think this is really important.
Yes.
Brother,
yes.
Mamoon, yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Brother Yunus I can't hear you, Brother Muhammad Yunus. There is someone, Chan Choi. We didn't hear anything from this. I can see Brother Yusuf is there. Okay, so Brother Adnan, if you can get onto my screen, if you can request control of my screen so you can test it if things are okay, and you can also test if it can be made faster.
It seems that this Zoom account doesn't allow me to control your screen. I can do it maybe at a different time using my own Zoom account. Would that be okay?
Okay, inshallah. Inshallah.
Okay, I'll contact you via WhatsApp in the future.
Okay, thank you, Brother Adnan. Okay, so
Sure.
we conclude here, and I have a conference to attend in 18 minutes.
Okay.
That will be all-day conference. So inshallah, assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Yeah.
And
Salam.
I make dua for you, and I ask your dua too.
Inshallah. Yeah.
Inshallah.
Make prayer to each other. Inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala.
Yeah. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah.
Wa alaikum assalam.